up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a minute. I'm going to bring in my girl, Kate. Kate, how you doing this evening?
I'm so good to be back with my tuners.
Yeah. Missed you guys last week.
Uh-huh.
Next, we have got Pete. Pete, how's your week?
It's doing great. I had a great week. I don't know. It was really good to be back with you guys. I kind of missed you guys last week.
I know.
Sure.
I really missed you guys because I was sitting at a 105-degree baseball game. So,
Ooh.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, this week we've got Sam. Sam, good to see you.
Hello. Good to see you guys. Good to be here. I missed you all, and I'm super excited to tell you, and I know you all know, but our audience, that I will be, by the time this airs, I will likely be on the Disney Wish on the maiden voyage. So I'm super excited. I won't be on the show for the next week. Yeah, next week. I won't be on, but I'm very excited, and I'll report back on all things Disney Wish.
Sounds great. And as a reminder, at some point, I had gotten back from my trip to Disneyland, and we will be doing a recap show for that also. So stay tuned for that as well.
I like it.
But as we do, we've got 2 weeks of Disney Plus news to get through this time today.
Yeah, there's so much. There's so much in the Disney Plus news. All right. Kicking it off. Excuse me. Martin Freeman. Of course, as soon as I need to talk, that's when I cough. Martin Freeman, who was Watson on Sherlock and Bilbo in The Hobbit.
Love him.
Agreed. Has confirmed that he is going to be appearing in Secret Invasion when the series comes out. He has played CIA agent Everett Ross in Captain America Civil War and Black Panther, and has been confirmed to be in the upcoming Black Panther sequel. So that's exciting. Next up, I'm super pumped about this. Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio have been confirmed as appearing in the upcoming series Echo. Cox will reprise his role as Daredevil, and D'Onofrio as Kingpin, who we saw being shot at the end of the Hawkeye series. Filming is going on for this series, with a premiere date likely in 2023.
This is amazing stuff, you guys. Like, we're bringing Netflix universe of Marvel into the MCU now. I mean, that's official. You cannot, we saw these little cameos of them in these other shows, right? We saw in Hawkeye, we saw Kingpin, and we saw Charlie Cox as Daredevil, as his character, the lawyer character. And now I'm blanking on which it was. Spider-Man. Yeah, and Spider-Man. So, but we saw those could have just been like little cameos, but now they're in another series. I mean, it is fully part of the universe.
How am I the one that got that one right?
I know.
Full disclosure, I still have not watched Superman, and so that was a little bit of a
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah. I fumbled and said Superman first.
But I can also add on to what Sam was saying. As someone who has watched so much of the Marvel universe, we are now on Jessica Jones season 2.
Ooh, love it.
Daredevil is by far, in my opinion, the best of the television shows. So I'm excited to see where this goes.
I think Jessica Jones is coming in too.
Really?
So it was just not officially announced today, but they just said Jessica Jones is going to be on She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, and that's like,
I love that
stuff
one.
Gets not racy, but like her stuff gets really, really dark. So
maybe that'll keep my attention then. Oh, sorry.
And the villain in the first season. Oh my goodness. Oh, the villain. Yeah. And he was in that other Sherlock
He was on Doctor Who.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a Doctor Who.
Yeah, he's David Tennant. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting away from the news here.
Sorry.
I know. Sorry,
but,
guys. This is so
I
good.
do think that anything Marvel brings in from there, they're definitely gonna tone it down from what the
Yes.
Netflix series were, especially like the Punisher, but even like Daredevil was very bloody, and I think we won't see that even if they bring back those series.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Continuing with a new Marvel series, Wonder Man is in development, likely a comedy by the writers of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Community.
Ooh.
I know. Wonder Man was a Hollywood actor and stuntman, started as a villain but reformed, became an Avenger, and developed feelings for the Scarlet Witch. This could create a tie into Doctor Strange 2, WandaVision, and upcoming Agatha House of Harkness series. So
probably not though.
Yeah, I don't. Well, and I don't know how they're going to tie it in.
I was like,
Scarlet Witch.
I've actually seen that a couple different places. So,
yeah. But now that I've seen Multiverse of Madness, and I won't give any spoilers because I know I haven't talked about it on the show yet. But like, I'm just not sure how they tie that in with. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. Next up, there is a light at the end of the tunnel of the Marvel tunnel for Derek, and it appears in the form of Light and Magic, a docuseries about industrial light and magic, the leader in Hollywood special effects. A trailer was released this week, and the show premieres July 27th.
And that will be going on our list. That will be made by us.
Yeah. Well, Derek loves all those docuseries. Those are his jam. The special effects and all that kind of Disney history stuff. I feel like that's right up Derek's alley, and it's a break from Marvel for him too. So whereas the rest of us are like, we're okay with Marvel.
There's a lot of Marvel though, isn't there? I mean, just like
To be fair to Derek, there is actually a little maybe too much Marvel coming on the platform.
We'll get there in a little bit,
yeah. Continuing on, the Jude Law vehicle Star Wars Skeleton Crew has reportedly begun filming. No plot is known at this time, and the series will premiere in 2023. Next up, on Thursday, December 15th, ABC will feature a celebration of the 30th anniversary of Beauty and the Beast. The show will combine the animated story with live performances of the songs as a tribute to the original movie. The show will stream on Disney Plus the next day. All right. Okay.
And as a preview, that the show for us that week will be to celebrate its 30th anniversary. We're going to be diving back into the vault for the original Beauty and the Beast that week.
Done.
Not the live special.
Perfect.
So. A tale as old as time, you guys.
I love it. All right. Emmy nominations were released Tuesday, and Disney Plus shows earned multiple. Among the shows getting nominations were Get Back, Chip and Dale, Book of Boba Fett, Star Wars Visions, Hawkeye, Loki, Moon Knight, and What If, all of which we have watched on the show. And last but certainly not least, the South Korean pop group BTS has signed a behind-the-scenes contract for their last special before taking a break as a band. BTS is currently the world's most popular band.
Yeah, they are a huge K-pop band. I mean, I didn't know they were taking a break.
So I always thought BTS meant behind the scenes, so I don't know.
I don't know what BTS means.
I don't know. Probably doesn't have a direct translation into English.
No, probably not.
So. All right, that's it for the Disney Plus news.
Thank you, Kate.
The kids like them.
Yeah. Kids these days.
The kids.
What the heck's the matter with? Oh, sorry.
With the hula hoops. And
with these kids machines. These days. Kids who can understand anything, they say. You're welcome.
Okay. Now, it's been a while since we've covered this series. The thing we're going to start off with tonight is we have episodes 3, 4, and 5 of Miss Marvel that we need to talk about. Pete, I'm going to start with you. Can you talk a little bit? Let's talk about her powers, because her powers have really, really developed since episode 2. Can you kind of talk about some of the origins of them? And, you know,
for sure. So I'm certainly not an expert on the comics or anything like that, but I will try to talk a little bit about that. So like, it appeared initially she got her power from the bangle that she got, but as the story has progressed, I think we've found out that she is she is related to the jinn, and she or also known as the people from Noor. I think it was Noor, right? That was the name of the
other dimension,
parallel dimension. So if you go back to the original comics, I think she was basically an Inhuman. And for anyone that watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., she got her powers from the Terrigen Mist and was, became an Inhuman, which gave her in the comics, I believe it was like stretchy powers or like shape changing powers, I guess it would be.
Yeah.
In the series, instead of shape changing powers, they gave her this. I think they're calling it hard light or solid light or something like that, and so she can basically create these these crystals and which then dissipate, and she can use those powers to punch people and create platforms that she can run up and down and things like that. And so the power from this is the impression I'm getting anyways, the power from the bangle is really like in her from her inherited from her family.
Correct.
So whether or not she needs the bangle or not, I'm not completely sure, because just in this last episode we saw the son of I keep forgetting what they were called besides the jinn. They were called
they were the
clandestines.
The clandestines. So the son of the clandestine leader was given kind of similar powers, and in doing so he doesn't have a bangle. Right? So like, does she really need the bangle? And then very subtly, when Aisha found the bangle, they mention, oh, there should be two of them, one for each wrist. And this is something you guys might not have noticed, but in that room where Aisha found the bangle, on the floor is the symbol for the 10 rings from Shang-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't
So
see that.
so it's quite possible that the bangle is related to the 10 rings, right? Which also gives you all kind of lighty, sparkly
interesting
powers, right? So there's a lot of unanswered questions to me about this power that she has. Again, clearly at least part of it is from her ancestry as being part from another dimension, I guess.
Right.
But how much of it is the bangle, how much of it is the artifact, I should say,
Right.
which is the bangle, and how much of it is her?
And
we just don't know it this time.
And we don't know, does her mother have the power? We don't know why Cameron didn't have the power until his mom transfers it to him at the end there. So there's a lot of unanswered power questions.
And we'll point out none of these clandestine people had any kind of power like she has, right? I mean, they could make like their weapons appear and things like that, but they certainly don't have her power. So yeah, it's unclear, I guess, is the best way to put it right now about her power. But it is kind of interesting that now her mom knows about it as well. So it's becoming less and less of a secret identity, I guess, because Bruno knows about it, and not Nadia. What's her friend's name?
Nakia.
Yeah. So quite a few people are finding out about it, but
and
I guess we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out more in the last episode. I'm feeling like we probably won't, though. I think this is something that's going to come up in the sequel, which is going to be a movie.
Yeah. And we don't really understand Najima, Cameron's mother. We don't understand her power, how she was able to transfer power at the end there
through the
Cameron.
rift.
Yeah. So that was also, we don't know if did she have that power in her? And then, I mean, that part I think we can talk a little bit more about that later, but I thought that part was actually quite confusing. We didn't get enough background, I think, to understand how that happened.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I'm trying to get at is I feel like we're getting bits and pieces, but not getting a good whole picture of how this all works, which
Mhm.
is usually not what Marvel gives us. They usually give us, by the end, they kind of let you know where it came from. But we'll see. We'll see. We got one more episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um,
what else
and
are we
it's,
going to talk
I was,
about?
I was saying, and it's real interesting. You talked about her, the Bangle Bean versus the Terrigen Mist. In the comics, she is actually one of the first ones, her and Scarlet Witch are some of the first ones to actually pull in the X-Men.
Oh, interesting.
So
Huh.
she, because by becoming an Inhuman, that matches up with the X-Men being Inhumans, basically. So that's kind of how they
They're
get.
mutants, though.
Yeah,
But are
the
mutants
X-Men are
Inhumans?
not Inhumans.
But that's one way they get brought in is through the
Interesting.
Inhumans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of which, I think Sam is going to talk about some of the relationships
Oh, yeah.
that Kamala has, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, we have so many, right? We especially in these last couple of episodes, we're seeing a lot of development in the relationship with her mother, and of course some with her grandmother, and then in the towards the very end, we see with her great grandmother, of course, when she rescues her great grandmother. Um, Derek, you're questioning. She's the one who
No,
rescued.
the great grandmother is the one that dies. The
But she doesn't.
grandmother is
Oh,
the little
sana.
girl.
The grandmother's the one she rescues. You're right.
Yes,
Sorry.
You're right.
The great right. She has a moment with her great grandmother, and then she rescues her grandmother's Sana. Yeah. So I think the relationship with the mother is one of the more interesting relationships that's happening. I mean, it's a very typical mother daughter relationship, but then we're finding more about the mother and how the mother was a bit of a rebel herself. Of course, her mother seems very straight laced at the several first episodes, and then now Kamala's finding out that her mother went around and followed Bon Jovi. So fun little tidbits like that, and how her mother was kind of a rebel in a Pakistani community. So I think that's really nice to see. Again, we see her relationship with her grandmother. It seems quite close. And of course, her grandmother has the same vision that she does. And that's what brings them on this trip to Pakistan. I think that is a really nice thing to see. An interesting side note for that is the relationship between Kamala's mother and the grandmother, and how they seemed kind of estranged at the beginning. And now, during this visit to Pakistan, it seems like they are sort of rekindling that relationship as well. The other family members, there's some great ones. I mean, I think the brother is an interesting character, being, sort of helpful to Kamala and protective of her, and sort of helping her with her a little bit overprotective mother. The father is obviously got a great sense of humor and is, trying to be funny and cool. I like his character. But then I think there's some other relationships that we just learned about, or new character, Kareem, who is the boy, the teenage boy with the red scarf over his face. This is bringing in the characters from the comics. There was the Red Dagger in the comics, was a hero, but was actually Cameron, not Kareem, right?
Okay.
Am I
No,
correct, Derek?
I was incorrect earlier
Ah,
when we discussed this.
okay. So yeah, so I was
In the comics, Kareem is Red Dagger. However, in the show, Red Dagger is shown to be more of a group or an organization.
Yeah.
well, yes, there is a group, but I would say Kareem is fulfilling that role as
And he's
Red.
the only one that's still alive.
Right. He's alive. He's using the scarf, and he has clearly like hardcore knife throwing skills, which kind of reminds me of a different superhero TV show on Netflix called The Umbrella Academy. But not to not to divert there.
I can go even older than that. In the movie El Dorado, the unfortunately now late James Caan, his main weapon he does is throw a knife, and that's how he defends himself. John
Interesting.
Wayne movie, excellent. So anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, Kareem's a new character. We see her meeting him in Pakistan and becoming friends, and then sort of hanging out with him even in, with his friends. And of course, Kareem is with her when she's, fighting the Jinn in Pakistan, and helps her, and his group unfortunately ends up befalling to the Djinn. But there's some other characters. Of course, we've got Bruno, her best friend back at home, who clearly has a crush on
It's
her.
so far into the friend zone.
Yeah, poor Bruno. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she definitely won't even talk about Bruno. We've got we, we've
Well played.
we've got Cameron, who obviously she has a crush on. He's sort of the opposite of Bruno, and Cameron just got powers, so we know he's going to play a central role when she gets back to New Jersey. That'll be an interesting. We'll see sort of if he becomes a young Avenger as well. And then we of course have Cameron and Bruno developing a relationship. Need I say? I mean,
Well,
now it's
At least
a
a
relationship
mutual
in which he now knows his name. So
right.
I
Instead
would
of
call it
calling him
close.
Brian, right?
That
Instead
was
of
one of my
Brian's such a weird
favorite
name.
parts was when he goes, "Oh my god, I really did think it was Brian this whole time." Like
I know.
that made me laugh out loud.
That me too. But I think that'll be interesting also to see now that Cameron has superpowers and Kamala obviously has her superpowers. Then we're gonna see, this interaction between the three of them a lot more. Plus now her friend, who also knows the female friend also knows that she's got this power. So it'll be interesting to see, do they become kind of a foursome, two with superpowers, two without? Well, I guess we'll wait and see. But I think the development of the relationships here focused mostly on, in these episodes focused mostly on the mother, daughter, grandmother, great grandmother relationships in that storyline. But I thought it was very interesting and very well done.
And I would almost be willing to bet the mother does have powers.
Yeah, I wonder.
Just because if great grandma, grandma, and daughter have it, the mom's got to have. Now, whether she is aware of those, whether she would be it seems to me she would be the kind that would be suppressing the powers.
Yeah, maybe.
So-
Or maybe she's never put on the bangle, and maybe
Right.
that's why her powers haven't been activated, because
So
grandma had the vision, we know, but we don't know if mom had the
in
vision.
episode 1,
Yeah.
she knew what the bangle was, and she told her to put it away.
True,
She
but
knew what the bangle was.
we don't know if that's because she saw her mother wearing it or something versus she wore it herself. So I think it's yet to be determined if mom has powers and if they've been activated.
And another thing with the grandma, I don't know if you noticed it, but she was wearing like some really thin bracelets, and they made a point to have Kamala point those out, and she said, "Oh
Mhm.
yeah, you can have these."
Yep.
And so that tells me that I'm not convinced it's the bangles. It's maybe it's she has to have, because did those look like they could have been 3 of the 10 rings?
Well, I think Shang-Chi has all the rings.
But does he
Yes.
still? Because who knows where this is in the timeline?
Oh.
I think he's got
Now
all 10.
you're getting too marvelly there, Derek.
Yeah,
No.
too marvelly. Don't get all marveling your marvelness, okay?
Conspiracy theory that Marvel fans thrive on. So Sam kind of teased it a little bit, but Kate, there are also some non-family, non-related factors that are playing very, very big into this into the show.
Yeah. So one thing that I love so much about this is the innocence that this actress brings to Kamala. Her just this innocence. That's really the only word I can think of. Like when the grandma was like, "Oh, yeah, you're a djinn." And she's like, "You said that so like nonchalantly. Like you just said that so passively." And I promise this will tie into the outside factors. I love how each of these outside factors that I'm about to say, she responds to each of them differently, but also just so innocently. She responds like a young teenager or a 16-year-old. And I love that. I love how this actress, how she responded when she found out that the mosque was raided, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, was a suspect there. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Department of Damage Control, how she was like, oh my God, they think. Yes, Derek.
Okay, having not seen all the Marvel series, Kate, have we seen Department of Damage Control before?
I don't remember
Very
it.
little. So they were in they were in the last Spider-Man movie
Yeah,
for a very
Spider-Man.
short time.
Yep.
Okay.
That's how we saw the male character, the male officer, detective, whatever his
The
name
woman
is.
I think was in it too, though. I'm not sure
Oh, was
she was
she?
just in the background.
Oh, okay.
Derek,
But
Shield was always the ones to
See,
clean up.
I knew Shield. I knew Shield, but the Department of Damage Control was completely new to me.
Right. So, and just how she reacted with the, oh my gosh, like they think that this person is doing something bad when she's really just trying to help. And how she talked to, was it her dad or was it her rabbi? Or is her dad her rabbi?
No,
I
not
get
the
a
same.
couple people
Not
mixed
the
up.
same.
Okay.
And it's
When-
an imam.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
not a rabbi. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really not a rabbi.
Yeah.
Not a rabbi.
Just says the one Jew in the group.
But how she said, like, well, do you think that that she could be doing something good? Like that, how should she handle this situation? I love how she went to him with that question, and how she sought that out. I think it will be very interesting to see what happens with Nakia, her best friend, who Nakia, which props to her for running for the Muslim board
Yeah.
or whatever. That, like, yes, get it. Love that. But how is that? I will be very curious to see how that relationship progresses with her friend, who was like, this person's coming in here and ruining everything, and oh my God, it's my best friend. So that will be really interesting. And I also, and I know I keep raving about it, but her relationship with social media,
And how she hates it right now.
Yes. But Bruno, at one point, Bruno was like, anonymity is a good thing. And she's like, but 1 million followers. If that isn't reminiscent of today's
Everybody.
youth and everyone, not just
not
today's
even youth,
but everyone. That, I mean, it's that when they said that, I was like, yeah, that's
and by the way, please like, subscribe, and share to our podcast and share us with your friends. So
it's true. It's true. But
okay, I'm getting a little off topic, but like people, yes, followers, but a lot of younger people, particularly, but not even just younger people, realize that this is not just a way to fame, but it's a way to income. Because if you get a lot of followers, then you get advertisers and sponsors and things like that. So I think it's, I think young people today aren't just thinking of it like, oh, I'm popular. It's oh, I'm popular and I can maybe monetize this.
I've had so many of I teach, those of you who weren't sure, I teach freshmen typically.
Yeah.
So many of them want, their career aspiration is to be a YouTube influencer.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, there's only so much influence to go around.
Well, and it's harder. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. But
no,
but
I mean, the people that do it and make a lot of money are devoting time to it for sure.
My 8-year-old wants to be a YouTuber, so.
Oh yeah, everybody does. Everybody that's young does now.
Right. But other outside influences with Kamala, then you've got the Jinn who, like, at first were like, come, welcome, and then they were like, give us your things, and she was like, no, and they were like, give it to us, and they said no, and now, like, the part when she's like, but you said I was welcome here, like, what the I feel for Kamala, because I feel like she is going through, yes, it's on a much grander scale, obviously, but she's going through what a lot of us go through. You think that you're welcome in one circle and then you're not, and you upset your best friend and you're not sure if you want your whole world to be on social media. this, in my opinion, as someone who social media is a big part of my career with being a speaker, I feel for her. I resonate with her. So you're right, there are a lot of outside factors. Bruno going away to school, what is that going to mean for her? I feel like she hasn't really processed that yet, because there's been a lot of other
I
stuff.
know. I wonder if he's going to go, though. I'm still questioning if he's going to go.
Or if she goes with him.
I want to say, though, that her powers give me very Frozone feels.
Yeah.
I get very Frozone. Like,
I totally just
that.
watched that
I can see
movie.
that.
Yeah, just like a week ago with my
Mom,
kiddo.
where is my super suit?
what do you
will
need
finally
to
see
know?
her suit in this last episode.
What?
We will finally see her suit in this last.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Well, now we know
Does-
where her symbol comes from.
Does everybody think her mom's gonna make it? That's what I think, right?
Yeah,
Her
I
mom's gonna
agree.
make the suit.
Yeah.
Mom or grandma and mom together.
Since there's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
Edna. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no Edna mode.
Bruno's good with the
No
with the what do you call the spray paint there, but I don't know if he's as good at sewing. So,
Okay, guys, I do have a couple other thoughts about the show, and definitely feel free to chime in. One of my big thoughts is I don't ever think the clandestines were the real enemy. I really don't. I think there is a bigger power here,
Yeah.
and I think it's the Kree.
Ooh,
Think
could
about
be.
the blue arm where they found the original bangles. Aren't the Kree blue?
I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still want to know more about this like gateway realm between the worlds and like how that opened and how that got closed. It didn't make any sense to me. I'm not complaining because I actually really like the show, but I just feel like there's got to be, I feel like we're going to see more. And I agree with you, Derek. I'm not sure the clandestines are the big bad.
And I have a couple theories.
well, so I think we can say the clandestines are not, because they are essentially all dead. And you can go ahead with your theories,
I think
Derek.
Najima's going to be back though.
I'm not sure, but I do think it's interesting that almost all the Marvel series, we tend to get to the big bad right at
the last episode.
right at the end of the 5th episode, and we didn't hear, right? Did we? Okay, so go for it, Derek. Tell us.
Okay, so I got two thoughts. One, you're gonna have to pull the Kree in somehow because you've got the Skrulls getting ready to make the secret invasion. So the Skrulls are not good guys. They aren't in, and this becomes one of those: the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The Kree are basically covering the Earth in fake people. Like, we know that Nick Fury on Earth right now is fake. We've seen that in previous shows. So it's one of those where the Avengers will kind of team up with the Kree because they're both going to have a common enemy in the Skrulls. But for this show, I still think the big bad guy is the inventor / Edison. Because there's just been, especially with that last, they made such a point of that Tesla poster that pulls that in.
That's a good point.
You've got Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Monica Rambeau all dealing with electricity and energy throwing. I still think, and I would not be a bit surprised to see if Bruno was somehow involved with that.
Do you think he'll be bad?
What was the name of the power company or whatever that when they were standing up on the building?
It was Edison Electric.
Okay.
It was Edison Electric. So Edison and the person okay, quick history lesson. Edison and Tesla did not get along at all. It was Tesla was AC,
right?
Edison was DC. Right? And it has nothing to do with Superman.
No comics. It wasn't
no comics at all. And Tesla ended up winning, which is why technically how your electricity works in your house is the electricity oscillates back and forth. The charge oscillates back and forth, and that's what powers stuff. DC think a battery
Hmm.
is direct current. So that was the side Edison chose, and basically it proved too dangerous.
Right. It would set on fire, right?
And it would kill people, like electrocutions,
Yeah.
because they would use direct current, because Edison's the one that came up with the electric chair. And it was intended to show the dangers of electricity, but it showed how dangerous direct current was. And so,
Yet Edison was more famous. I know Tesla's quite famous now, in part due to the car company being named after
which
him.
I thought was a funny comment. Oh, you're into
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah. But but Edison was much more famous than Tesla in our time because of it, like I said, before the car company, because it was the first to create the light bulb. So that's
Yeah,
his
and
sort of
Edison
claim to
had a
fame.
lot of
Perfect the right light bulb.
inventions, and I can't slag on him too much because I have an Edison award. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Edison was great. Edison really liked to take ideas and perfect them.
Mhm.
He didn't really come up with huge ideas on his own. We like to take ideas and perfect them and then take credit for them. Part of the reason you don't hear from Tesla is Tesla gave
Sounds a lot like Disney.
shocked. Tesla basically gave away all of his patents to Westinghouse because he felt that strongly about his electricity. So he never made a ton of money off of his electricity. Edison got incredibly rich until he got kind of screwed over by JP Morgan with General Electric, because the two went in with General Electric together, and then Morgan bought out Edison. So, and that's your history lesson for the day.
I think we went way too far into that, to be honest. And you thought you were watching a Disney Plus podcast. No.
Boy, we fooled you.
We looked at educate as well as entertain.
Exactly. Exactly.
So-
Infotainment.
We've kind of talked about this a little.
Edutainment.
We kind of talked this about a little bit. I'm going to go back to you, Pete. Predictions. What do you want from the finale? What's going to wrap this up well for you?
So before I talk about that, I just
Yeah.
I wanted to comment about the show itself. I can't say this is the best Marvel show, but boy, I gotta really say, like, for me anyways, I found it very interesting talking about all the stuff that they've brought in about Pakistan and the history of the partition and everything like that. I didn't know any of that stuff, and so that kind of, that's like, I mean, we just joked about learning from your entertainment, but I feel like I'm learning about a culture that I didn't really know a lot about, and so I think that part of the show is very cool.
Same.
It isn't necessarily making the very best Marvel show I've ever seen, but it's from a doing something unique that, like, it's kind of daring that they did this, to me, that they put a show out like this that isn't necessarily going to just, isn't just all popcorn and fun and everything like that. And especially one that's clearly targeted at a younger generation with a younger heroine. So with that, I've enjoyed all the side trip to Pakistan and everything like that, but I really want to see it kind of move back towards the story of this teenager and her friends, and come to a resolution where we're settled in a good place. I don't just want to see a cliffhanger that we don't find out the solution to for 9 months because we got to watch Miss Marvel or the Marvels. Sorry. So I hope that they put the show in a place where we can kind of wrap up the story pretty solidly, and then of course have the end credit tease. But yeah, I want to see, like, is there a villain? Is there another villain out there? Who's the villain? So that's my comment. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, I'm with you on just about everything, Pete. I want to see it wrapped up with a pretty little bow, and then we get an end credit teaser at the end of episode 6. I do want to find out more about who's the next bad guy, since we only got the clandestines for this series. I do have one prediction, like I said, that Najima is not gone, because Cameron said something about his mom, and I just, it just seemed to me like she's somehow going to be coming back. I know that she was like turned to ash by whatever surge was coming from that portal to the Nor world, but I still feel like, this is Marvel. We can bring anybody back from the dead. I mean, how many times did Loki get killed, right? And we still have Loki in the universe. So, and I mean Tom Hiddleston's Loki, not all of these other Lokis as well. So,
Not the Matt
yeah.
Damon Loki.
Right. And now we also, obviously, with a multiverse, we can have anybody can come back in a different, in the same or different way, because we have an infinite number of universes that all might have slight changes. So anyway, I just think it'll be interesting to see if she comes back, if she has some tie-in to the big bad. I think that might be something we see, and then obviously how this will tie into the upcoming movies. But the other thing I'm curious about is Cameron and his role, and how, you know is he, like I said earlier, is he going to become another Young Avenger? We've seen quite a few female Young Avengers coming out recently, right? Between Hawkeye and then of course Ms. Marvel, and we have She-Hulk coming. We have a lot of female characters coming, and so I'm interested to see if Cameron's going to become part of the mix as one of the male characters. I do think it'll be interesting if we start seeing some, and I don't know if Marvel has this plan, but some non-binary Young Avengers as well. I'm hopeful that will be coming in the near future. Yeah. What about you, Derek?
I'll be perfectly honest. I'm looking at something up here on the side. I'm going to push it over to Kate for now, and I'll come back.
Yeah. I don't have a super like, oh, I really hope this happens. I would love to know a little bit more about Kamala's mom, just a little bit, like, because I feel like she's got some kind of a secret that she's not quite telling. I hope Bruno doesn't go away. I really like him. Other than that, I just hope that they stay true to her innocence and her being a 16-year-old and all of a sudden finding out that she's a Jinn, and like, I just hope that they stay true to her character, if that makes any sense at all. But other than that, I have no idea even where to begin guessing who the next villain's going to be. So
okay,
all right, Derek, back to you.
Yeah, what I was looking up, Sam, was how Cameron is involved in the comics. Cameron is also an Inhuman. And so, okay, I don't know this as well. Is Excelsior Academy where the X-Men go to school?
No, that's Xavier's school for gifted children.
Okay. See, that's why I asked people.
Yeah, the Inhumans and the X-Men aren't exactly the same, because again, the Inhumans are like alien DNA, and the mutants are just mutants.
But Cameron ends up not being a good guy.
Well, that's what I was wondering, is if he's going to turn out.
He is,
even though he's in this final episode, even though if he was going to turn out, even though he seems like a good guy and he didn't want to see her, Kamala, hurt. Well, I think because he got this power, he's going to end up being like the bad guy that they have to defeat at the end.
I think we had said at the beginning, didn't we, on our preview episode, Mike and I both thought Cameron was going to go evil, because he does in the comics. So, guys, what I want from the finale, guys, I owe an apology to Loki. I really owe an apology to Loki, because I didn't think anyone could talk more and do less than they did.
Oh my word.
This has not held my attention at all. Just it hasn't. I understand that I'm probably being a little bit jaded by the fact that this is the age group I teach every day. So it's not necessarily, I see these interactions literally every day during the school year. So there's not anything that new there for me. I mean, we have individuals, different cultures. We have some Islamic students that go to school where I teach. So I appreciate what they're trying to do. It's just not working for me. So what I want from the finale, I want to see who the bad guy is. I think I would not be surprised if we don't have a Captain Marvel cameo, especially if it's the end credit scene, because you got to have some way to tie it. The end credit scene will tie her to the Marvels, which is her and Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau.
Right.
So it will tie that up. It will tie her in somewhere. And Miss Marvel is almost the feature in that one. So she's going to kind of almost be the star of that from what I've heard. So I don't know. That's kind of what I want from the finale. I'm hoping that it's...
So I don't want to do pixie dust, but
No.
we got the opinion of Derek here that he's kind of on the show. What does everybody else think? Because I don't think it's the best Marvel show, but it's a type of show I'm enjoying it. I don't think I would go back to it, but I'm enjoying it on the one pass because it does. I mean, the one thing I got to give Marvel is every show is different. That it doesn't feel like you're just watching the same thing over and over again. And whenever I watch DC stuff, it's the exact opposite. It's like literally every DC thing seems almost exactly the same.
Agreed.
Agreed.
I'm with you, Pete. It's not my favorite of the Marvel TV series from Disney Plus that we've seen, and it wouldn't be my favorite even compared to Daredevil on Netflix. But I am enjoying it. I might watch it again. It's not something I'm going to rewatch over and over and over again, but I might rewatch it because I'm sure there's things that I have missed, in particular in advance of the Marvels movie. So I am enjoying it. Obviously, we haven't seen the finale yet, but yeah, it's not at the top of my list, but it's not at the bottom of my list. I'm finding it enjoyable as well.
I agree with Sam, 100%. You said it better than I could have, but it's not the absolute top, but it's definitely not the bottom. So,
you guys, I had something to add, but it is completely gone. So I have no idea.
That's all right.
But so yeah, next week we will be hitting that. But the other thing we hit this week is the Baymax shorts did come out. We had watched Big Hero 6 several weeks ago, and now they came out with a series of, I believe it was 6 8 to 10 minute shorts featuring Baymax. So Sam, I'm going to talk about you, throw it to you, just as far as and Gina, we're not quite ready for episode 3 yet, but just in general, how does it connect to how do we see the tie-in to the Big Hero 6 movie?
Yeah.
And I think you have watched some of the series. Am I also correct on that?
I have watched some of the series, meaning the prior series. Derek is referring to that the Disney Channel series that they did. There are some characters that tie in from the Disney Channel series. I confess, I only watched episodes here and there. It wasn't like something I watched religiously. But this really, the tie-in is really Baymax himself, right? We don't see the entire Big Hero 6 crew. We don't see all of the superheroes. We do see Hero. Yes, we see Hero in the last episode.
We see him in all of them.
Oh, we do?
There's an end credit scene in every single one where it's him and Baymax.
Okay, well, I definitely missed some of those.
Yeah, you have to watch past some of the credits.
Oh, see, and I don't
Come on, it's
do
Marvel.
that all the way past.
Marvel,
Right, but I wasn't really thinking of it in the normal Marvel context because it's a TV show. But anyway, yeah, the tie-in is Baymax, really. I mean, it's him helping some of which are new characters and some of which I think are characters from that prior TV series with some problem or issue. The first episode stars Baymax and Aunt Cass. Aunt Cass was Hero's aunt, and she runs a coffee shop, a cat cafe actually, and she ends up spraining her ankle. And it's about how Baymax is trying to help her with her cafe and sort of teaching each one sort of teaches a lesson. And so this one is a really nice series. I know that it's getting people on the conservative end of the political spectrum quite mad, particularly episode 3.
And let's go ahead and dive into that, Sam, because talk a little bit. What is the controversy in episode 3? Because it's definitely there.
Yeah, well, there's
your thoughts on
there's a couple of things that I would say that some folks are going to find controversial. Just the fact that the episode is about a girl getting her period for the first time, right? So a preteen girl at school gets her period for the first time, and Baymax essentially comes to the rescue. So even just talking about that, I think there are some folks who are, quite uncomfortable with that topic, which in my opinion is silly. It's something natural that happens to anyone, pretty much anyone who is born with a vagina. And I say born with a vagina because I'm not going to even use the term female or woman. And that brings me to the other issue that some conservatives are up in arms about, which is in the store when Baymax goes to get pads and tampons for this preteen girl who's just had her period for the first time. Baymax is getting advice from a number of people who happen to be in the store, which I presume is a CVS or something like that. And one of those folks who gives Baymax advice happens to be a transgender man and recommends, whatever pad or tampon of choice. And so, all the folks who are helping Baymax, all are people who presumably have or had vaginas, and they are giving Baymax advice of what to get for this young girl. And I think it's wonderful that, Disney is showing different representation of people, especially at this time in political history. I know I'm speaking to the sort of I'll call it the peanut gallery because I know you all are have similar feelings to me about this, but I don't think it should be controversial, but apparently some folks probably in places where you can't say the word gay are up in arms about this. Yeah. So, I'll pass it around to my friends, but
though I come to that and I'm like, but isn't this really completely different from that in that like this is all women, this is something all women have to deal with.
All people born with vaginas who have to deal with.
Sorry, all people born with vaginas have to deal with. Like, it shouldn't be a controversial topic.
Agreed.
When I watched the episode and I knew something very similar happened with Turning Red, which did not go into quite as much detail as this did, but they made some jokes that in for those that didn't see Turning Red, there's some jokes when the main character is turning into a panda that the mother thinks that she's gotten her first period. Yep. And so like she's trying to give her pads and things like that, and it's played more for humor than this, which clearly discusses the topic that some people are bothered by. So it's like I when I watched this I was like, oh man, if people were bothered by Turning Red, they're gonna hate this thing.
I felt the same way, Pete. I was like, this is gonna get some people fuming.
But
so silly though.
My wife and my daughter really I identified with this episode,
Totally.
and so I think, as a someone born without a vagina, maybe didn't hit as close to home, but it's still having a daughter, she went through every child, goes through that. And, it's, I don't know. I thought it was great, but, I can see, why don't we get, Kate's,
No, opinion. I agree. I wish I had something like this when I was a kid because it would have made me feel less alone. Especially, I mean, I can't speak, Sam, for when you were a kid, but when I was a kid, like you just didn't really talk about it like at all.
Yeah.
Like, talk about
you
it.
told your mom, if you had a mom, right? Like you told your mom and your mom got you what you needed. But like I mean, I guess we talked about it in sex ed, but that was like,
but that it wasn't,
the teacher was talking about it. We weren't talking about it.
It wasn't focused on. So it was the perfect blend of comedy and comfort and honesty. I liked it a lot. I mean, you all were watching my reaction as I was watching it. I love Baymax. I just want a Baymax. I think everyone wants a Baymax. But love the transgender representation. And just I liked it. But as I was watching it, I was like, ooh, if people were mad about Turning Red, we're going to be real mad about this one. So
they're going to be big mad. That's what I was thinking when I was watching it. They're going to be big mad. And I was like, bring it on.
Be mad.
Big mad.
Big mad.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, okay, it's an episode about it. Trying to think as a teenage boy,
They should have one about wet dreams next.
Well,
No.
no, really.
That's a completely different thing. No.
No,
I think Disney should draw the line there.
Puberty lessons. Come on. Puberty lessons.
Um,
They don't have to show anything. To
my
talk about it.
No.
thought was knowing a bunch of 12-year-old boys, because my son's been that age very recently. I'm not sure her friend would have been as cool about it as he was. Does that make sense? He would have been freaking out a little bit more. I understand why they didn't have him do it,
Yeah.
but had him freaking out a little bit more. And I guess someone who is squarely not just in the Bible Belt, but I'm pretty much in the buckle in
Mhm.
Kansas.
Yeah, you are.
I guess I actually took and I didn't get a good look at him. The guy who said, "These are the ones I do." My initial thought was, that's a husband buying them for his wife.
No.
He was wearing.
Okay, see, I missed it. I missed it totally.
No, that's okay.
That's okay.
But-
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that was super like
That wasn't in your face.
to me.
It
Where
was
people,
subtle.
I think the reason people complain about these type of things, or the main reason people complain about this, is my kid can see this without me being there, and then then I have to explain things, and
Good.
and
Good.
well,
Yeah,
right,
good.
but that's not people's attitudes. But I think that particular moment, I don't think a child would even notice.
No,
I
don't
agree.
know
It was
either.
quite
So,
subtle. It was
yeah.
That was definitely more an adult would notice. But you know what?
Right.
It might be that another transgender person would notice, though. That's the other part. So maybe a young person who happens to be transgender might notice it and also feel that they were being represented, right? Because you don't see a lot of, as Kate put it, you don't there isn't a lot of transgender representation in mainstream media, in television, right? And so this is a nod to that, and kudos to Disney for doing this and normalizing talk about periods in general.
Right. But I'm just saying, I think the reason that this type of episode would be complained about would be, hey, now I have to explain this to my 5-year-old. And
Good.
Then why is your
well, that's my
5-year-old
I'm with you. I'm like,
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
and
I'm
why
like,
is your
that's
5-year-old
okay.
watching
You're gonna
it
have to
on their own?
you're gonna have to explain to them sometime. So
Right. Better early than than late.
Yeah. But
Because these were
um,
TV PG, so
Yeah.
parental guidance. So you're
Yeah.
supposed to be sitting there. If you're showing these to your 5-year-old, parents are supposed to be there with them.
Yep.
right.
And now I understand how often that does or does not happen.
But the series as a whole, I thought, was very enjoyable.
Mhm.
It wasn't as like hilarious as, say, Doug Days or the Olaf shorts,
Yep.
like just constant laugh out loud.
It was more
But-
lessony,
Yeah, but it was very charming, is what I would say. Just very charming, very heartwarming, I thought, and also very quick, though. I mean, we watched all 6 in a single sitting,
Mhm.
and when you take out the credits at the end, as Derek said, I think there were like probably 6 to 8 minutes long.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's not like they're gonna eat up your day. So are we doing
Yeah, I
pixie
think
dust?
most of them were
Well,
like
but we're gonna
7
go-
minutes.
We're going to go the rest of the way around this horn. Just thoughts, general. If there's anyone else has general thoughts about this series. So, Sam, anything else you want to talk about?
Just I thought it was enjoyable, and I liked that each episode had a lesson and that they had different characters, that we got to know in the different episodes, and then had at the last episode, I know that the characters kind of all came back, or a bunch of them came back.
Yeah. I will say the last episode is where I really rolled my eyes, because really Marvel explosions, really the only thing that could have made it more having to beat the explosion clock. Only thing that could have made it more marvelly was if they had actually blown up the building.
But then everybody has to live in the multiverse. So
well, yeah. I mean, it's a cartoon. You obviously know what direction
It's not
going.
MCU.
it's not MCU.
No, but it's just one of those where I'm going, really, we need the explosives?
I know.
Seriously. Kate, any last thoughts? Okay. In that case, I am going to start with you on this one then. Got our Pixie Dust ratings. We got Pixie Dust ratings out of 5 for the series as a whole, or for the ones you happen to have watched.
3.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
I'm going to give it a 3.5 because I would rewatch some of them, but I'm not sure I'd sit and rewatch all of them. Derek?
2. Mainly for me because, as you guys said, it was not Doug Days and it was not Olaf Presents. So it drastically fell short that way. It says something that the funniest episode to me was the one with the cat. So,
Yeah.
and if you're talking lessons, yes, I understand they talked a little bit about this with the older Asian American lady, but where's the mental health? If you're really gonna hit what people need today, and you're really gonna want to teach those lessons, where's your episode on true mental health?
Yeah, that would be a good one. Maybe next season 2 of Baymax.
We don't need a season 2. Okay, so next week we are doing the Miss Marvel finale, and I understand, guys, we have just gone to tape. We have just started doing these on recorded. But for the series finale, we are going to do a live show. It will be next Tuesday at 9, 8 Eastern, our normal times.
Oh, I don't know if I can go back to live. Oh, it's too confusing.
Yeah, we're going to end up doing, guys, about one live show a month, typically a finale or something big along those lines. It may not happen every month, but we really feel that going on the recorded versions really we really think it's going to help grow the podcast. So let's just get a little bit more in depth. Let's us get where things go. Guys, if you like and shows will be released every Thursday on YouTube and the podcast on different podcasting platforms. Guys, if you like the recorded, if you don't like the recorded, email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. Let us know what you think and why. Please don't just say, I don't like the recorded. Tell me why. Give me a reason. I'm an English teacher. If someone just says, no, I don't like it. Yeah. Tell me why, because you have to back up your reason.
It has to be at least a 3-paragraph essay.
No, I didn't say that.
No, like a 1-sentence or 2-sentence explanation of why you like it or why you don't like it. Yeah. Just let us know. So, because it helps us figure out, what's the best way to go forward.
Yeah. Because we are enjoying this so much, but we want more people to listen to us also. We want more people we want to grow our platoon. We want to grow our community. So, guys, with that, we will see everyone on Tuesday next week at 9, 8 Eastern and 9, 8 Central. And with that, we will say goodnight, everyone. So
or you can listen to it on Thursdays.
Or you can listen to it it will still come out on Thursdays on YouTube and on all major podcasting platforms. So with that, guys, we will see you next week. Bye, guys.
Good night. Bye.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.